два, три.
Valery Rozov is considered a legend in the world of extreme sports for his thrill-seeking knack and extraordinary ability to challenge the limits. The guy is a pioneer of extreme sports and literally took skydiving and base jumping to heights that most athletes of this sport would not even think of before him. His life was a whirlwind of record-breaking stunts and jaw-dropping achievements that looked impossible with the help of a wingsuit and shook the world of extreme sports forever. Born on December 26, 1964, in Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, Valery wasn't your average kid. While most kids were running around on flat ground, Valery was all about climbing anything he could find. He grew up surrounded by the rugged beauty of nature, and it didn't take long for him to fall in love with the great outdoors. His dad, a dedicated mountaineer, was a massive influence. The two would spend time conquering tough trails and exploring the wilderness, fueling a passion in Valery for heights and the thrill of adventure. But this wasn't just about climbing trees or scaling small hills. Valery had this insatiable urge to go higher, like literally higher. Whether it was climbing anything in sight or just being up there where most people wouldn't dare, he felt alive in those moments. That said, his fascination with extreme sports wasn't something he stumbled on right away. It was during his teenage years that a particular moment changed everything for him. He caught a glimpse of a documentary about extreme sports, and let's just say it was love at first sight. In one of his interviews, Valery vividly recalled watching a French parachutist jump off a wall in the Alps, fully decked out in climbing gear. That single image, it set his soul on fire. Right then and there, Valery knew this was it. He was born to fly.
The main idea for this project was to make the first jump ever from one of the most beautiful mountains on Caucasus, Mount Uzhba. It's a very special area for me.
Fast forward to 1998, and Valery Rozov's journey into extreme sports officially began. Initially, it was all about climbing. That natural high from reaching a summit was what first drew him in. Then came skydiving, a step closer to his ultimate goal of flight. It wasn't long before base jumping completely stole his heart. Now, base jumping isn't just about leaping off a cliff and hoping for the best. It's a sport that demands a perfect mix of physical prowess, mental strength, and a deep understanding of the mechanics of flight. What's remarkable about Valery's journey is how his family supported him through it all. Sure, they might not have fully grasped the sheer magnitude of what he was doing, but their encouragement was a cornerstone of his success. Ironically, despite his own fearless nature, Valery was cautious about the idea of his children diving into the same high-risk world he thrived in. He knew better than anyone how dangerous it could be. Valery's career wasn't just about daring stunts, it was about redefining what was possible. By 2009, he was already a legend, but that year cemented his status. Picture this, a snow-covered crater at the top of the Matnovsky volcano in Russia, and Valery standing at the edge of a helicopter. His mission? To dive straight into the heart of an active volcano. Sounds like a scene straight out of an action movie, right? But this was real life for Valery. The conditions were brutal, with weather delays and no safe landing site in sight. After waiting for 8 days, Valery finally took the leap. With a backflip off the chopper, he soared into the volcano, gliding in his wingsuit for a full 40 seconds before landing safely on the hard snow below. It was the kind of feat that left everyone watching in absolute awe, and if that wasn't enough, Valery took things to an entirely new level in 2010. This time, he set his sights on Antarctica, where temperatures plummeted to a bone-chilling -30°C. Did that stop him? Of course not. He leaped from the stunning Ovatana Peak, describing the experience as nothing short of astronaut-like. It was as if he'd traveled to another dimension, a moment he'd later call one of the most fulfilling of his life. By 2012, Valery was scaling even greater heights, literally and figuratively. This time, it was chevaling in the Himalayas, a peak that towers over 21,000 feet above sea level. The challenges were immense, but Valery wasn't one to back down. It was just another chapter in the story of a man who lived to defy limits, redefine adventure, and inspire awe. The next year of the daredevil became the most jaw-dropping year in the history of base jumping. In 2013, Valery climbed to the north face of Mount Everest, 23,686 87 feet above sea level, with the biting wind howling and the temperature at a bone-chilling minus 18 degrees Celsius. On May 5th at 2:30 p.m., Valery made the leap that would come to define his career. The jump was scary and deadly, thousands of feet above in the freezy cold air with no clear vision. At such high altitudes, the air is thinner, making it incredibly tricky to stabilize during free fall. But Valery wasn't the one who would give up on bad situations because he honed his skills to perfection. Within seconds, he adjusted, cutting through the air like a human missile. Reaching speeds of 201 kilometers per hour, he descended in an exhilarating 1-minute flight, finally touching down on the Rongbuk Glacier, over 4,000 feet below. This set a new kind of standard for the extreme at least, and even they were surprised to witness that extraordinary achievement. But as a born daredevil who's never satisfied without aiming at the next big thing, he set a new impossible target for him. He made himself ready to shatter his own record in 2016, but this time taking on Cho Oyu, the 6th highest mountain in the world. This jump was beyond everyone else's imagination. However, after a grueling 21-day expedition to reach the perfect launch point that was 25,262 feet above sea level, Valery once again beat the odds and limits of the human mind. On October 5th, he leaped into the void, experiencing a breathtaking 90-second free fall before deploying his parachute. The descent was extremely difficult, and anyone would hardly believe that he had done that. The association of this jump number FXTM base jump project made that record even more historic. An internationally recognized Forex broker platform, FXTM, provided Valery access to the global audience, which literally made him a global icon. Valery's philosophy was simple. Every challenge, no matter how daunting, was an opportunity. His every jump wasn't recklessness. Each jump was meticulously planned, from studying weather patterns to fine-tuning his wingsuit for next-level performance. Valery Rozov's approach to his craft was nothing short of extraordinary. Along with being meticulous, his skill set and preparations were flawless. Every detail was critically analyzed, every risk accounted for, and every piece of equipment tested and retested. Even with this level of perfection, achievements, and stardom, Valery remained humble and down to earth. Red Bull, who partnered with him for years, described him as a man full of spirit and creativity, a dreamer who didn't just fantasize about the impossible but actually went out and made it happen. Valery had a never-ending knack to innovate, to go beyond what had ever been done, and to prove that even the wildest dreams could become a reality. But it is usually considered really hard for a man who plays with fatal challenges like a toy to die in bed. On November 11, 2017, he set out for another record-breaking base jump, this time from Ama Dablam, a screen but high Himalayan peak rising 22,349 feet above sea level. It wasn't just a regular jump, it was part of his ambitious 7 Summits challenge. Daredevil made this attempt to quench his thirst to base jump from the tallest mountains on each continent. The jump was planned with the precision of a military operation. Valery and his team went through nuts and bolts analyzing weather patterns, charting jump trajectories, and fine-tuning every piece of equipment. It was the kind of preparation Valery was known for: thorough, methodical, and flawless. But you all must have heard that really well. Even the best-laid plans can go really wrong. So yes, everything seemed perfect as he stood at the edge of his jump point, ready to leap into the Himalayan sky. The initial moments of the jump were smooth, with Valery gliding effortlessly, his wingsuit slicing through the air. But then, something went terribly wrong. A critical issue with his equipment emerged. A malfunction, a complication, something unexpected. What exactly happened still falls in the category of mystery, but the result was beyond terrible for the world of extreme sports. Observers watched in horror as Valery's movements became erratic. His struggle to regain control was agonizing to witness, a stark contrast to the grace and precision that had defined his career. The mountains, which had so often served as the backdrop for his triumphs, now bore silent witness to his final moments. Unable to stabilize, Valery collided with the unforgiving mountainside. The news of his death sent shockwaves across the globe. Mingma Gelu Sherpa, representing the Seven Summits Club that had organized the expedition, confirmed the tragedy. Valery had crashed into a cliff during the jump, his life cut short in the very environment that had fueled his greatest achievements. Red Bull, his partner since 2004, expressed their grief, calling him a true professional and an adventurer who had consistently pushed the boundaries of what was possible. His death served as a harsh reminder of the fine line between triumph and tragedy in the world of extreme sports. The effort to recover his body was as challenging as it was heartbreaking. Valery had landed in a remote, inaccessible crevasse near Ama Dablam Peak. The rugged terrain and treacherous conditions made the recovery mission nearly impossible. Helicopters couldn't land, forcing rescuers, many of them seasoned Sherpas and mountaineers, to search through the perilous landscape on foot. After an exhaustive effort, they finally succeeded in bringing him home, offering a bittersweet sense of closure to those who loved and admired him. Valery's passing left a void in the extreme sports world, but his legacy endured. He had spent his life inspiring people to embrace challenges, to see limits as opportunities, and to live boldly. His death sparked a necessary conversation about the dangers of high-risk sports and the importance of rigorous safety measures. In his memory, the base jumping community rallied to emphasize safety and preparation. Workshops and seminars became more common, focusing on how to handle emergencies and mitigate risks. Some regions even introduced stricter regulations to honor his commitment to responsible adventuring. Now jump in the comments below and share your sentiments about this heart-melting story of Valery Rozov. And press the like button if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories on the life of daredevils and extreme sports athletes. See you in the next video.